Hello everyone, this is Professor Hill. It's a short video for our class, Introduction to Philosophy, 1301 here at St. Philip's College. This is the uh, online version of the class for the spring 2020 semester. Today is Wednesday, February the 12th. And we're looking at our second essay, our second discussion, based on our book, The Philosophical Journey by William F. Lawhead. Now, this particular section or unit's based on the chapter about metaphysics or reality. Specifically, what's the ultimate reality? And the chapter goes in a lot of different directions. So what we're going to do is have a question from the book that kind of focuses in on one aspect of it. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, part of that is about getting at the difference between real things that are tangible, like I mentioned my phone, or things that are intangible, like a concept, an idea, like freedom. And I said famously, you can't go down to H-E-B and buy 5 pounds of freedom in a bag and walk out the door then. That's right. It's an intangible concept, but very much a very real entity, just like a book or a table or a phone. So the next thing we want to talk about, though, is how we know that. And that's going to be related to our next chapter. The thing that's coming up after metaphysics is a chapter on epistemology, or how we know what we know. That's about knowledge. But you can see how they're linked together, because this time around we're talking about how we know reality. How do we know what's real and what's not? What is that based upon? And it turns out the reason I chose this particular question to focus the discussion is that it does get at the distinction between theists and atheists and their thinking about things like ultimate reality and the basis of existence. Now, there's a big difference here, and we want to talk about this because it's also going to be reflected in the chart I put up next time around about epistemology, which is about the distinction between evidence-based knowledge and faith-based beliefs. Because what we'll see, and we're getting started with because of this question, is that there's going to be an important distinction between beliefs that people accept and hold based on a leap of faith, for which they don't have empirical evidence, and knowledge that we've gained about ourselves and the world around us that's based on critical scientific thinking and experimentation, and a process which gives us knowledge about the world which is not based purely on faith traditions. And my point here is simply that they're two different kinds of things. Lots of people spend time arguing about the differences, but the fact of the matter is there are fundamental differences between faith-based beliefs and evidence-based knowledge. And you'll see that reflected again right in our first discussion for this week and for the essays. And again, people have started to post things. This Wednesday, the assignment's not due till Sunday. But again, the first couple of essays are already up, and people have jumped right into this question. And again, it's on point because the discussion question asked people to talk about this very thing, which it says, with this in mind, rank each of the following items on a scale of 0 to 10 according to the degree of reality. Items that you think do not exist should be given a 0. Items that should be the most real on this scale would be given a 10. So it asks and it compares tangible and intangible, like we talked about yesterday. But it also gets into this question specifically about God, and which gets to this distinction between 3 different types of people. Atheists who do not believe in a God or gods. Agnostics who say, well, we don't really know. We can't tell. Maybe there's a God, maybe there's not. Who knows? The jury's out. And then finally, theists who do believe in God, even though there's not, a scientific proof for the existence of God. There's not scientific evidence-based experiments that have proved God. They say, no, look, we understand that. And that to say that I'm a person of faith means I've taken this leap of faith beyond that, and I hold these beliefs, and they're important and meaningful to me despite that. In fact, for many people, because of the fact that there's not empirical evidence. So that also explains a couple of important things about this distinction between knowledge and belief. When you do a mathematical problem, an arithmetic, just something simple like 1 + 1 = 2, the fact of the matter is that is a certain objective truth, and that you can do the experiment, you can show that, you can demonstrate that, you can repeat that, and it's true everywhere all the time. It was true 100 years ago, it'll be true 100 years from now. It's true in the United States and in South Africa and Australia and China. It's true all around the world. It's true in outer space. It's true on the moon. So it's a reflection of this kind of universal truth that we've been able to figure out and discern and have that knowledge. But if somebody is in a different place teaching that 1 + 1 = 36, you should feel completely comfortable telling that person, going over there and telling that person, stop what you're doing. That's wrong. Well, that's a little bit different than faith beliefs, because those folks aren't saying, hey, I've got a scientific proof for this. What they're saying is, I'm a person of faith. I've taken a leap of faith. And so at that point you say, okay, so if somebody says there's one God, you go, okay, that's what they hold based on their faith tradition. If somebody says, no, I'm polytheistic, I believe in many gods, the response to that is, okay, that's, again, your belief based on your faith tradition. They can be incompatible precisely because of the nature of the thing that we're talking about, which is their faith beliefs. And that's the reason why all around the world, 1 + 1 = 2, and all around the world, people have different religious traditions, different sacred texts, different religious beliefs, and very different beliefs about God and about that kind of ultimate spiritual experience that for many people is, like I said, important, meaningful, foundational in terms of how they see themselves and the world around them. We just want to make sure that we're talking about this being a philosophy class, and it's not a theology or world religions class in terms of we're not here to talk about the individual doctrines of these religions, but we do need to remember that for many people, their religious beliefs shape their thinking and again, how they just enter the world, how they see things, what's meaningful to them, what they spend their time on, decisions and choices and judgments they make. That's going to be foundational for them. The opposite is going to be true for atheists. So it's an important piece that we needed to sort out early here, because what you're going to find is that some people are going to disagree about how they rank the reality on that our little 0 to 10 scale once you get down to number 4, God. Your car is going to be a whole lot easier. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very real, tangible thing. I think there'll be a lot of consensus there. The next one's about God, and I think there's not going to be consensus there. And so we want to talk about why that's the case, and that this important distinction about, like I said, evidence-based knowledge and faith-based belief. That explains a whole lot. So, good luck with the assignment. Finish reading the chapter. Jump into that essay. Like I said, a couple of them are already up. Once you get yours finished and posted, I want you to review at least 2 of your classmates. And I look forward to the discussion. In the meantime, take care, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.